How's it going, everybody? I hope that y'all like my little thumbnails. I don't know what else to do. I mean, these are quick lives, and they suggest you take a quick picture. And I usually I'm just like, yo. Somebody joked and said I was like giving the middle finger, and I wasn't. I don't do that, but I do think it's funny. And please forgive the nose. Our little dog was being a little bit too playful and decided to, lash out. So that's what's happened there. Anyways, hey, the Charlie Brown Parfum, happy to see you. Really good to see you. Are you having a fantastic evening? I won't be on here too long this evening. I have about 30% or so power on my phone, and we'll see how long I can actually be on here for, how fast the power will run out. I was actually looking at new phones today, and I didn't realize that there were such things called gaming phones. Now, these days, there's higher tech phones that are really big and have super performance, and they're quite impressive. Maybe I can get one of those someday. I would love to. Not that I necessarily want to play little not laptop, little app games. Just because I like really long battery life. I don't like to charge my phone that much. Hey there, Rich Mitch, but I do charge it every morning and every night. I do it all the time. Hello, Rich. How you doing, little ducky? How's the fragrance life going for y'all? Um, what's been on y'all's mind? What's the fragrance topics that's speaking to your soul? Recently, I think it was Chanel, if I remember right. That it's not too recent, but it happened about a week ago. But they kind of put a public disclaimer out, and they're publicly going after people who decant or resell their fragrances. We know that you can't really sell their. They control their supply chain very well, so there's very few that would fall through the cracks. But they don't really allow gray market sellers to resell their fragrances at a discount. And it's that's a really interesting topic. I don't think a lot of maybe some people don't understand. It's like if you keep a scarcity of your product, you protect the brand. I think I was reading about recently, and I hope this story matters. I hope it's interesting to you because I think it helps put a perspective on, I guess, the side of business wise of fragrance. But I was reading recently about, I think it was Louis Vuitton, and I'm assuming some of the really, really high end, even clothes brands, but this is what was in regards to purses, especially, because some of their purses are, so expensive, and if they were to sell them at a big discount, whenever they didn't need them anymore, that would really hurt the brand. And also, to if the purse is made in Italy or France, for example, it costs a lot to ship it back, and there's duty fees. The USA and a lot of other nations as well will also charge you to ship it back. Like an export import tax that you'll pay the taxes again, and so they actually get like a little bit of money back for like a reclamation, some kind of fee. So it's actually beneficial for them in a couple ways to actually destroy the product instead of shipping it back, and they get a little bit of the money back. And I'm sure that they charge it. I don't know, probably have a way of charging it on their insurance or something funny like that. So the world is a funny place. And I really don't like Chanel coming after people doing decanting. Decanting is kind of a gray market activity. It's kind of lucrative. Some people would suggest it's, I don't know, not the best thing to do, but I don't see anything wrong with decanting. I think a lot of us don't. But there certainly are brands who kind of frown upon people doing that. But it's in some cases, especially with some of these brands, I don't understand. I'm sure y'all think it's really funny too. So I've seen some of these brands, even when they're not selling decants themselves, if they're a newer company, I guess they just want people to blind buy their fragrance without ever smelling their fragrance, or, there's not any word of mouth on their fragrance at all. So, somebody buys a bottle and then splits it out, or, sends samples to all their friends. And I've seen a company or two that wasn't happy about that. It's a funny world. So, that's one reason that maybe fragrances don't become as cheap as you'd want them to, or as cheap as you would expect. And yeah, at your, it's kind of funny at your Rosses, at your discount stores in the USA. I'm sure there's other ones in different countries, but TJ Maxx and the like. Some people in the bigger cities, especially, I've seen have found some amazing fragrances. Where I'm at, our Ross is never stocked. Our Ross has almost nothing. For a while they did have some older vintage fragrances, and I think I saw a bottle of Caesar at one point that I almost bought, but my dad said not to buy it. I guess he didn't care for Caesar, but it's actually really desirable, really expensive now. I wish I would have bought it. Um, my goodness, it's funny. It's really funny to see which fragrances, you know, I guess which companies let things, they have to sell them. You know, I would love to see all the behind the scenes. There's so much that we don't see behind the scenes. Are y'all interested in that? I mean, I am. Anyways, Ronald Japinga says evening scent of the day is Guerlain L'Homme, the ideal EDP. Is that the one that has the cherry top and has more of a Tonka feeling to it? At least that's what I remember. If I remember right, I think Jeremy Fragrance spoke highly of that one. I'm not sure if I tried that one yet, but it sounds nice. I was tempted to buy it, but if that's the one with the cherry top, I'm always a little bit scared of cherry. I don't know why. A guy can pull off cherry. Cherry can be a dark note. It can play really well with darker notes and be a beautiful part of darker feeling fragrances. But I don't know why. Cherry's always scared me away. Schism says, "Evening, sir. Hello, how you doing? Happy to see you, Schism. What's your scent of the day, everybody?" I'm wearing a little bit of my Montal Oud, if I can say it right, Oud Saffron. And check that fragrance out if y'all haven't. I did a big post on Instagram just very recently. If y'all want to see a post, lots of people like photography, and also I'm getting kind of into the Instagram scene. I'm becoming. I don't know how influential or big I am, but it's for certain. I kind of like what's going on. I like the people. I like the vibe and the emotion. And I'm sorry about this sun right here. I can't seem to do much about that. It's the horizon's right here, where whenever I sit out here, and it's absolutely in the screen in the camera. So that's what if you see that's what it's doing to the camera. You could see me normally if you didn't have that. So, anyways, scent of the day is Boise d'Argent. Great fragrance. How do you feel about that one? Tell me more, Rich Mitch. Tell me more, little ducky, or the golden goose. Anyways, everybody. For me personally, I've been testing a lot of things. Yesterday, I tested, what was it? Hugo Boss, the Scent Absolute. I need to get a lot of reviews out there for you guys. I find it a really fascinating fragrance. I can actually still smell it on my arm after a shower or two. And, I did spray my arm a couple times, but that's over 24 hours. That's crazy. And a couple showers and everything. So it's no joke. And I'm going to give it a really interesting review. But if you do want performance, it is a pretty good performing designer fragrance. No doubt about it. It does a good job. The scent absolute. So, Ultra Super says, "Hey Ben, it's great to see you. Is that injury I see on you? Hope it's not serious." No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I did okay. My nose was bloodied up pretty bad. Y'all seen Cookie? I forget exactly what kind of dog she is. I think it's a Boston Terrier, but she's got a fighting spirit. She can roughhouse pretty bad, and sometimes when I play with her, she does try to nip or try to grab anything she can, even your face. She's a little bit too rambunctious for her own good. And this time, I guess I wasn't watching, and she got me real good. So I'll recover. I'll be fine. But I was bleeding all over. So, but I'm not mad at her. She wasn't trying to hurt me. She's probably, if she knew, if she could understand, she probably would be sad about it. So, anyways, Ronald says, "I tried Absolute, but there was something that I did not like. I think it's the Maninka fruit, but there might have been something else that just didn't smell right to me." Have you tried the other ones? The Private Accord has the best opening, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people feel the same. The Hugo Boss Private Accord has the best opening. I don't want to spoil the review on the Scent Absolute. I still think it's a really good fragrance, but it's not blended particularly well. And there's a vetiver in this fragrance, and the vetiver smells aged, and it smells a little bit old and a little bit dry. So it's not particularly the darkest vetiver. It's not inky vetiver, but it has this dry, aged, almost like a driftwood kind of quality about it, and that might be throwing you off. And and there's some other qualities to this fragrance. In the dry down, it almost starts smelling incensey and a little bit sour. and I forget if this fragrance has labdanum in it or something like that. But the incensey qualities do start coming out and very late into the dry down. And I again, this is a like been on my skin for like 24 hours, and this is the remnants and the very far dry down. But it does have this almost sour incense kind of quality added to that maninka fruit, which is really nice. It's an exotic, almost. It's really hard to describe, but I would say cherry like sweetness, but it's not the same. But that's the best example of fruit I can give it. And then of course the tobacco and the caramel qualities and of the the private accord kind of line, the scent absolute. So it does come off as more mature. I do think it comes off as more of a mature kind of man scent. It's not as playful as I expected, and I don't know if I love the fragrance either. I don't dislike it, but I do feel like, at first it can really pull you in. It has a really nice sweetness, but as it dries down, it does become more of a mature, almost woody, a grown man kind of fragrance. And not everybody likes that. A lot of people like really playful fragrances. So, yeah, I think it'll grow on me. I think I'll keep it around. It's still more of a modern fragrance. I don't want to say it's an outdated fragrance. I don't want to say it smells bad or to say anything ageist wise or ageism. I'm definitely not into that. Some people get that impression. I just try to give general suggestions for anybody and everybody, but I think it does smell more like a modern, maybe an older gentleman. But I like it. I'm still going to keep it and wear it, but I'll have to keep that in mind. So Ultra Supra says, "Oh wow, a rough doggy." Yes, absolutely. A little bit of pit bull and not pit bull, but kind of, I guess so. Kind of like a bulldog kind of soul in that one. Cookie, I'm sure in some of my videos you've seen that black and white dog always sprinting around. She is such a very high strung dog. She's a fighter, and she'll want to fight with you and play with you, real rough anytime she can. So she doesn't play nice. Rich Boys Argent smells like iris and myrrh. Smells like fresh wealth. Yeah, it does. It does have a certain refined classiness to it. It really does. It's a really good scent. Fragrance Trip says we just talked about that yesterday. Completely agree. Well, I'm happy that you feel the same way. And I saw that two people left the live when I talked about that. I try to be very transparent, and in this age, how people communicate these days. I guess they want you to be very, very positive and just speak in a way that you're focusing on the positive. But with how I speak, my mannerism, I'm like telling I can tell you what I'm not, and what my approach and that contrast. And to me, that contrast is normal in speech. To me, that contrast in communication is very important. So when I say I'm not an ageist and give examples, some people that scared some people away, and I'm sorry. I hope I didn't offend anybody. I care about everybody. But, anyways. Happy that you feel the same, Fragrance Trip. It's quite interesting, and, that the fragrance came off that way. And I'm not sure if Hugo Boss intended it for it to come feel that way. Also, I think the vanilla needed to feel a little bit more white and a little bit more creamy. I think that fragrance would have benefited from, with the vetiver all coming off as dry. I think the creaminess would have helped with this almost incensey-like qualities round out the fragrance a little bit more. Again, the vanilla has a little bit of that vibrant, skippy, almost like dark vanilla. Almost feels Tonka-like, and I'm not sure which accord that is, but it's the same type of sweetness in the Hugo Boss, the Scent Absolute. You can really tell in the dry down that's in Paco Rabanne's Night, Pure Excess Night, and some of these other really modern, trendy fragrances. And I find that really strange. And I guess that certain aroma chemicals, whenever maybe they're, when they're first produced, or maybe there's almost like a patent, or somebody owns the fragrance to some degree. Maybe after a certain period of time, it comes on the market and everybody rushes to use it. Or maybe it's a really cheap substance. I really don't know. But I find that kind of weird, and I kind of don't like that. That, certain fragrances, there are trends, of course, which, brands follow. But also, even before the trend really happens, they're all jumping on the bandwagon and I guess trying to maybe they're trying to utilize and make their fragrance become the top seller with the biggest note, so they see the opportunity like a Gold Rush, and maybe they want to put out their interpretation with that note that they think is going to sell really well. So I don't think that Hugo Boss, if you're listening, if you're watching, I don't think you used the right sweet Accord, aroma chemicals, or whatever it was. The vanilla is what I'm thinking in my mind. So let's see here. Do you think that other reviewers are losing originality just to grow their channel? Oh, sorry, I skipped a comment. Ultra Super asked, "Do boys de argent lean more towards the masculine, feminine?" I think it leans slightly towards the masculine, but a confident lady could pull it off. I think it does have an air of sophistication and classiness. Some people might say it smells like old money. If you know what I mean by old money, you know. If you don't, I don't know how else to explain it to you. But it does feel like that a little bit. A lady could pull it off, but I think that people would kind of associate it a little bit more with the guys. But you know, if the ladies want something like that, I mean, there's all kinds of beautiful fragrances. Oud Ispahan, for example. If you like that style of fragrances, a lot of guys are comfortable with wearing it, and a lot of guys truly adore it. More power to you if you wear it. But I feel like Oud Ispahan leans a little bit more towards the ladies, and I would like people to say that because a lot of ladies maybe are scared to wear that fragrance. And I think a lot of ladies would really like Oud Ispahan, and I think they would smell remarkable, absolutely gorgeous, wearing Oud Ispahan. So hopefully we can get the word out on that. Let's see here. Do you think that other reviewers are losing originality just to grow their channel? I think that some of them are. Y'all know that the top 10, videos do work. Again, I don't know if people are truly searching for top 10 videos or if it's a case of YouTube favoritism because of how the algorithm is set up. But I do think that they are, and I think it's a very difficult thing for a YouTuber, a fragrance reviewer, and it's challenging. I felt that challenge. I at one point I was doing not completely, but I was doing a little bit more of those views, and then I felt discouraged because I wasn't being true to myself, and I didn't want to do that. But that's where the YouTube, the views were coming from, and at one point I was, even a long time ago, I was pulling in almost double the views of what I am right now, even though I have over 500 videos and I put a lot of work and effort and a lot of care and devotion into being a fragrance reviewer. It's really difficult right now because if you want to be authentically yourself with your own style and personality, perhaps if you have a lot of charisma, you can break the barrier. But even Jeremy Fragrance played the top 10 fragrance list game. Even Jeremy Fragrance did it. And to make no mistake, he has charisma, and I don't want to beat up on him, but he's always a prime example that a lot of people mention, including myself, because he's made it. And I guess we look towards the leader or the person with the biggest success as an example. So I'm complimenting you, Jeremy. I'm not beating you up, even though we have differences. Yeah, even though Jeremy Fragrance had the charisma, he still played the top 10 game. And people see that people are interested in that. It makes sense. It gives people a quick introduction. You build anticipation getting towards the number one fragrance. And there's a lot of reasons why maybe people do like top 10s. So, but I do think that it's a challenge to be yourself, to be creative. It's not hard to think of top 10 list video ideas. I actually wrote a whole page, over 50 ideas probably, and threw them all away. I wrote a bunch of them in the notes of my phone. I don't know, I forget how many I have. Might be 50 top 10 list videos. If you're a creative person, it's not hard, especially with some of these guys who have 200, 300, 400, 500 plus fragrances. There's a couple of these reviewers who actually have like 2,000 fragrances. I only have like 80 or so. I'm not a collector. And I even though it would be nice to have those fragrances for top 10 list, I only want 80 or so fragrances. To me, it makes sense with being practical, and I've found that for me personally, that's enough fragrances for all of my emotions, all of the seasons, all of my outfits and my style, and 80 to maybe 120 fragrances one day, maybe if I get up there. But I'm not this person that needs 1,000. I don't know. you probably have to fill up a whole room or your whole house. And 1,000 fragrances is not practical, but they're collectors, and I'm not beating them up, but more power to them. But yeah, it's a struggle. It's a struggle if you want to be a fragrance reviewer and if you want to get noticed. The top 10 game is definitely a struggle right now. It certainly is a big struggle. So, see here. Get to the comments. Ultra Super asked, and I have 14% power. I just saw a pop up. Ultra Super says, by the way, now they're asking $219 to $230 for Dior Homme Parfum. Do you think it's worth it? They saw that the new one was reformulated, so the prices of last year's batch have been, marked up. Yeah, it's all supply and demand, and they'll lower. These people who have vintage bottles of anything will eventually lower the price, most likely if people are not willing to pay it. But they probably know just about what people are willing to pay for it, and if people buy it eventually, these people are probably going to hold on to it. I don't like the Dior exclusives. Some of the older ones, especially Mitza. Mitza was outstanding, but even the Chanel's, most of the Dior and the Chanel's, they do have good quality to them. They are wearable as far as niche goes, but to me, they're not particularly interesting. They're not exciting, and even though they are wearable and classy, there are plenty of other fragrances that are classy and wearable for cheaper prices. And I don't like how Dior kind of control and Chanel kind of controls their, supply of their fragrances so strongly. But who knows? I think a lot of people are missing out on a lot of the other exclusives. There are lots of brands with exclusives, and I haven't even tried them all. If you do want something wearable but still a little bit more interesting, Ferragamo has an exclusive line. Carolina Herrera has an exclusive line. Armani has a beautiful exclusive line. Y'all got to check out the Giorgio Armani line. Y'all know the Acqua di Gio, but they actually have an exclusive line. Some of these aren't easy to find, and of course, they're expensive. But I think that the Dior and the Chanel exclusive lines are way too talked about, way too popular, at least in my humble opinion, for their own good. I'm not crazy about them at all. So I guess I'll leave it at that. So Dior Homme Parfum is nowhere close to $200 fragrance. Yeah, the Dior Homme Parfum because there's the new, the 2020, and as far as I know, the Dior Homme, the regular one, the Dior Homme 2020 is the only one that's been completely ruined and completely changed. I heard that the Dior Homme Intense maybe just isn't as sweet, and I haven't heard much about the Dior Homme Parfum for the 2020, but yeah, it's going to give people an opportunity if they have older batches, especially if they have the silver batches. Even before 2020, there's the silver sprayer ones that supposedly have a lot more iris, and some people say they perform even better, and they were charging a lot for them. So yeah, it all depends on what you want. I do like Dior Homme. They do smell good. The Parfum is the only one I might buy, and I don't even like it heavy on the iris. I don't even want personally a silver sprayer one. But some people out there love the iris, so we're certainly all different. But for the price, yeah, I've never come across one for a really cheap price. If I came across Dior Homme Parfum, a full size bottle for like $75, I probably would scoop it up. So some say it'll be worth $500. Yeah, the ones with the silver sprayers, just like anything, it's an investment. As time goes on, some of those things will become more and more expensive, and it's possible. It's a very popular fragrance line, very, very desirable, and I do think it will happen probably. I could agree with that. Andy Warhol was extremely popular and desirable even before, Sensual Obsessions, clones, and some of these people started talking about it with a resurgence of its popularity. But it was a very desirable fragrance and kind of exclusive even before that. Somebody who has a bottle of the original Andy Warhol purple bottle, I've mentioned this before, they could probably charge almost anything they want. They could charge $500 to $1,000 probably for, especially if it was sealed new in box. They could charge almost anything. Now it's on eBay. Okay, I see what you're saying. Ultra Supra. Fragrance Trip says only if you plan on reselling it to make money, but you can do much, much better if you to buy something for yourself. I agree. For the money, I don't encourage anybody paying anything above retail. So if a fragrance originally was $80, don't pay more than 80. If a fragrance was a full retail price at the store was 150 or whatever the price was, I'd encourage y'all not to, because I care about value for money, and there's always something else beautiful on the horizon. There's always a new beautiful fragrance creation. There's always a new release. There's always somebody who has a hidden gem or something else out there. So yeah, never. I would never do that, but some people get emotionally attached and they always want that scent memory and they can't give it up and they want to wear it every day just about for the rest of their life. And more power to them. If you have to have that fragrance, you have to have it, but you're going to have to be willing to pay for it. So I'm not that way. I'm always exploring and finding so many new things. Even though I really like some things, that I've gotten attached to my Mugler Pure Tonka. There's a lot of plenty of other beautiful chocolate fragrances or Tonka fragrances out there. So yeah, that's at least that's my opinion on that topic. So let's see here. Got my first bottle last year for 155. Yeah, and the price is definitely up. Fragrance Trip says I'd put that money into exploring some indie houses like Rogue, Fori, Kerosene, Gallagher, etc. before backing up on a designer with a jack up price. I agree. You could get a lot more for your money, especially if you're looking at other fragrances, that are, kind of hidden gems or underappreciated on sale. With that $200, you could get two, maybe three fragrances that in a year or two might become discontinued and might be jacked up in price as well, because they're rare. Just like I mentioned it before, but the Valentino Uomo, there's a Noir Absolute, and Brooklyn Fragrance Lover and a couple of these other fragrance reviewers, for a while we're actually using it to trick people in designer versus niche battles because the quality is outstanding. It smells, some people don't like the cliche, but niche quality. It's an outstanding fragrance. Last time I saw it, you could still find it for close to $70 odd. It's a little bit linear. It's a little bit dark. It's not mass appealing, but it's still really likable. It has that iris vibe. And if you really like the Dior Homme line, a lot of people haven't checked out the Le Instant de Guerlain. It's kind of a cousin. It's more of a dry cocoa, and it has iris qualities to it as well. Definitely check out that line. That one's flying under the radar. And I have low battery power, guys. I probably have 4%. I'm probably going to have to go soon. I'm sorry that I've only been on here for, I don't know, almost 30 minutes. So I'm sorry about that. But check out the Valentino line. Check out the Le Instant de Guerlain line, and you might find an iris that you like that smells classy and refined as well. And definitely check out some of those fragrances. Those are great suggestions. Fragrance Trip. I tried Kerosene recently, and I'm going to get Blackmail. I'm saving up to get Blackmail. It's a beautiful, like a dark berry, like a blackberry, and it's smoky and it's mysterious, and it's like a bad boy smelling fragrance. I really like it. It's good stuff. It says, yeah, Dior Homme Parfum is a one-of-a-kind designer fragrance. Might be the best ever. Yes, see, I like it. I think the Dior Homme Parfum is where it's at, but everybody has a different preference. I did really like the Dior Homme Eau, and I still think it's a good fragrance, but I think it's good for a clean, classy fragrance, but I don't think it's like a Hall of Famer. I wouldn't call Dior Homme Eau a masterpiece, but it certainly was one of the best, easy to wear, mass appealing designer fragrances that I tried in a while. It's discontinued as well, and it's a shame. But yeah, that's how life goes. I think you already decided what you do. Exactly. I'm not going to change myself to do top 10 list all the time. I will be putting out a fall list and a winter list. I do like to give you an idea of what I wear seasonally, and a lot of y'all really like that. And I will put out, of course, some like my personal favorite date fragrances and some of these other topics. But I don't. I'm not gonna do it every video. I'm not gonna play the top 10 game. Every video being a top 10 list, just because that gets views. I gotta be true to myself, and I gotta do what I think is helpful and important. When I consider buying a fragrance, I watch a full length review. I watch a 5, 10, 15, 20 minute review. I got low battery, people. I gotta go. I'm sorry, but now I'm outnumbered. Lol. No problem, Ultra Supra. Yeah, we're all family here, and no, you're awesome. Thank you for commenting, everybody. I gotta go though, but if you really love it, go for it. but not getting into a bottle. Exactly. What are you going to buy? When I have a battery pack, actually, it just doesn't work very well with this stand, and I don't know. It does. It just doesn't work. And that cicada is going crazy over there. Can y'all hear that? It's loud. But I hear you. I need to actually get Wi-Fi. I don't have good Wi-Fi, and maybe I do need to get a gaming, one of those gaming cell phones I was telling y'all about, so I can have longer battery life, and the camera would be better. But yeah, I need to get Wi-Fi and maybe a streaming camera or whatever it's called, and a streaming cam for my laptop. But I just don't have the money right now. Take care of your bridge nose. No, I'm doing fine. It's all washed. It's clean. It's with soap and everything. I probably should put a band-aid on it. I'll be fine right now. But I was bloodied up pretty bad earlier today. So that little bulldog and that little doggy soul was fighting. She's a fighter. So, anyways, everybody, have a beautiful week. I will see y'all tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Central, and I'll be going live tomorrow on my Instagram with Juicy Fuego about 12 a.m. Central Time. We'll be hanging out, chatting about some of our favorite fragrances from some certain brands. So, if you want to see me hang out and talk with Juicy Fuego, which is a really cool guy as well, hit up my Instagram, and Instagram is actually doing really well. I don't know why, but YouTube doesn't like me. The YouTube kids don't like me, and I don't know what else to say. But I'm doing well on Instagram. Have a beautiful weekend. Cook some beautiful food. Enjoy life, and I'll see y'all tomorrow as well. Y'all know I'll be on here Saturday tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central time as well. So have a beautiful weekend, everybody. Enjoy life, and peace, everybody. Peace out. Bye.